While it could be considered funny to open the chute and fire the motor at the same time, it's not going to give you much flight. Sure, of course not. Alright, this is OneLastMidnight. Welcome to Kerbal Space Program, game number 25 on our 31 Days of OP Games. Kerbal Space Program is a... you take charge of a space program for an alien race known as the Kerbals. You have access to an array of parts to assemble fully functional spacecraft that flies, or doesn't, based on realistic aerodynamic and orbital physics. Launch your Kerbal crew into orbit and beyond while keeping them alive to explore moons and planets in the Kerbal Space Solar System. Construct bases and space stations to expand the reach of the expedition. So it has a pretty overwhelmingly number of people that have reviewed this. It's got close to 40,000, 37,000 people have reviewed this as an overwhelmingly positive. It's running an 88 on Metacritic, and it's won a bunch of awards. I haven't really tried to program. I got into this game, started playing it a little bit when it was in its early access phase, and then I think I tried the demo or something like that, and then I haven't played since. So let's go ahead and get started. Let's start anew because I don't remember what I was doing in this last one. Let's just call this Midnight. And so I don't know. Let's see. We've got a couple of options here. We can go sandbox, which is just kind of build whatever. We have science, which it says for science. Science mode, you must gather scientific data to research new technologies. Fund and reputation are disabled. Contracts are not available. Previous classic career. You have career mode. You have to manage all aspects of your space program. Funds, reputation, science are all active. Contracts are available at mission control. And like sandbox is just whatever. I think probably gonna do career mode. We get to choose a flag. It's too bad this is not bigger, so you can see the flags a little bit better. Let's go ahead and pick our flag. Let's do this. I like this. Do the rings one. We'll accept the rings one. All right, that's going to be our flag. Let's go ahead and get started. I know very little about this game other than what I just read to you guys. So getting started is going to be kind of a trick. All right, it says, welcome to the Space Center. Nice to meet you. I'm Gene Kerman, flight director, your guide for this quick introduction. In the Space Center, from here, you can manage all aspects of the space program. Where's the Space Center? I guess this whole area is the Space Center. Feel free to look around. Hold right mouse button to move the camera around, or use the arrow keys. Right-click on the Space Center facilities to view more information about them. Okay, cool. If you need more information, check out the training session on the main menu. Training session on the main menu. Should we go through the training session? I think we might need to go through the training session. Let's see, training. Getting started basic constructions. This tutorial, presented by famous rocket scientist Werner von Kerman himself, appears the basics of rocket construction vehicle assembly. He's waiting for you down there. Well, you guys let me know, because this is kind of tricky, like I said. Excuse me, I'm still kind of recovering from my cold here. I haven't done any of this, so I probably should get started in the training just so I know what's going on. Either that or relying on anybody who's played this game to kind of help me out. Let's go ahead and start the training. Let's do a couple training missions. We'll get a feel of this. All right. Basic instruction. Welcome to today's lecture on vehicle constructions. Vessel construction, sorry. I'm Werner von Kerman. Whether you want to put a satellite in orbit, make a transcontinental flight, or step onto the various surface of the moon, you're going to need to build yourself a ship. It should be pretty easy, even if you're not a famous scientist like myself. All right. Oh man, too much reading. In this tutorial, especially I don't like coughing every time I talk here. I'll first show you around the Space Center. Take you to the vehicle assembly building where you'll learn how to construct a simple ship. We'll cover adding or removing parts, what the parts do, how to change the performance settings of those parts, which have the option, and how to control staging. At the end of the tutorial, we'll have a craft fit for a quick hop from the launch pad. At each step, I will lock out all the controls other than the ones you need for that step. If you still manage to mess up, it took me even some time to become as skilled as I am now. You press the back button to go back and fix things up. Fix things. It won't light up unless you mess up. Okay, interesting. If I mess up, I can use the back button to save me. Which is good. It's good to know. Alright, let's go ahead and get started here. We're now at the Kerbal Space Center. I'll give you a quick rundown of how to get around. KSC for short is the home pinnacle of the Kerbal endeavors and achievements of space exploration. Using the facility you can see here, you'll be able to manage your space program, create rockets and planes, track your Kerbal explorers as they roam the solar system, find exciting new ones for explosive substances, find new uses for explosive substances. In the case of emergency, hire more Kerbals. You know what? I need to increase the font size of this. This font is like ridiculously small here. Let's get the UI up to maybe 70%. Did that change the font size at all? No, it really didn't. Is there a way to boost the font size? Scale UI intensity. Oh, that helps. Okay. Now I can read that. Alright, let's go from here. Back to resume. There was a lot more buttons than this, I think. Weren't there? I don't remember. Okay, anyways. To find out about each facility, you can hover your mouse over them. The facility buttons show up when the cursor is outside of the window. If you need to repair, structure, upgrade an item, career, you can do this by right-clicking on them. Take some time to hover over the mouse to see which one. Okay. That's the space hangar. Allows you to construct spacecraft. Vehicle assembly, where you design, build, before you move it to the launch pad or flight. Tracking station, track ongoing missions and stuff like that. Research and development. Scientists hard at work at receiving mission experiments. Data. Astronaut complex contains the living and recreation spaces for the astronauts. And administration buildings. What else do we have? We have mission control over here. And then we have the launch pad over there. Okay, so did I get everything? I think I did. Good. Where do I go next? When you're ready, click on the enter the vehicle assembly building. Alright, we're going into the vehicle assembly building. Very good. What you see in the middle of the screen is the construction area. This is where parts are placed and your craft is constructed. On the left side of the screen is the parts toolbox. It will show all the parts you have available in each of the different categories. Once there, you can pick. Once there are any to pick, that is. Okay? If you want your craft to be controlled, you first need a command module. And it's best to make it the first part you place. Why are you going to place the command module first? You pick the rockets first? This part will either contain some plunky Kerbal crew or an automatic pilot mechanism. As we're just starting, there's only one choice. Go ahead, pick the command module from the pods. Okay, here's command module. Oh, it just kind of like floats it in air? Oh, wow. It just floats it in air. Can't move it around? Can't move it around. After at least one part is placed, you can look around with the following controls. Okay, got it. Zoom in, up and down. Roll the mouse wheel, rotate around. Gotcha. I feel like I'm reading a book here. If you like your pilot to be able to make more than one flight, he or she will have to return safely to the ground or water on Kerbin. Parachutes are the simple way to make sure this happens. They can be found in the Utility tab. Change tabs by clicking on the icon. Where's the Utility tab? Utility tab. Okay. When you're choosing parts, you can view the details of that particular part. Ah, we have parachute system. Alright, go ahead and select the parachute by left-clicking on it. And then move it to the top of the... Okay, we have a parachute system now. Sweet. So these guys are not going to, like, crash on the ground and die. That's good. Some parts, like the parachutes here, have configurable options. To see these, you need to right-click on them. Let me know if the sound is too loud. Kind of loud in my ear, so I'm going to turn it down a little bit in my ear. Okay, so you right-click, you can get to the options. So what are the options? I guess this opens up at 1,000 feet. Let's check out the open height. It's set to 1,000 feet because safety is the Kerbal way after all. For minimum pressure slider, move it a bit to the right to 0.2. Really? Okay. There we go. This setting prevents the chute from activating until the atmospheric pressure is above the configured value. On Kerbin, 0.2 is about 9 kilometers in altitude. So even if you stage early and arm the chute, it will wait until then to activate. Okay. You can hide these options by right-clicking on the background scene. Awesome. Alright, let's go next. Next up, we're going to need something to make us go. Click on the Engines tab. Engines. The engine tab on the left show the available engines of the solid rocket motor. Grab one and connect it to the bottom of the pod. Connected. All right. We now have a rocket. Chun, chun, chun. Number 3, because number 1 and 2 failed, and they don't really want to tell you that, so they just put number 3 on this one. All right, let's go back next. Oops. I forgot you're just starting out. You're not a famous rocket scientist. To make the craft survivable as it stands now, you'd have a better chance. You'd have a better... Head cold, coughing, reading, no. You'll have to be better at rocket science than me. Ha! Impossible! Problem with the craft is that this solid rocket is too powerful for the payload, a single small pod, and a chute. It will either burn up on ascent from going too fast or burn up coming back down. Even if you survive that, the craft's mass will cause it to fall too fast for the parachute to operate properly. You'll hit the surface before you can stop it. Okay, I promise to teach you how to change that to make it work in a later tutorial, but for now, let's continue. Well, at least this way I get to tell you about removing parts. Pick up the BACC thumper. Is that what this is? Is this the BACC thumper? I have no freaking clue. And either drop it back over the parts toolbox or press delete. Okay, I got rid of it. Go next. Instead, let's add a solid motor. That's a better match for a ship of this size. Okay. They call this the flea. Solid fuel booster. Let's go ahead and stick the flea on there. It does have enough oomph to get our little craft moving skyward and quickly. As you progress, you'll be able to unlock more engines and other parts. Alright. We got the flea going. Staging stack. Nice one. You built the simplest survivable craft possible. You could go launch this right now, but it might be safer to explain one more thing first. In the bottom right, you will see a staging stack. It's the bottom with the number 0 and icons on the chute engine above it. Alright, I see it down here. The stack shows us which parts will be activated as we stage our rockets. Okay. What this shows is that when we activate the next stage, both the engine and the parachute will be triggered. While it could be considered funny to open the chute and fire the motor at the same time, it's not going to give you much flight. Sure, of course not. To fix this, we need to separate the engine and chute into 2 stages. If you mouse over the 0, you get a little plus and minus appear. Well, okay, yeah, alright, I see it. Plus and minus appear. Click the plus button to add a new stage. Ah, I see. If you add too many, click the minus to get rid of them. Okay, so what's the next one? It's important to note that the stage activate from the highest number and then count down. So our first stage will be stage 1, the engine. Our second stage will be the chute. So we drag the engine over, right? Okay, there we go. Now drag the engine icon from 0 down to 1. Okay, no problem. Very detailed sim game, Cat, from what it seems like. Space sim game craziness. That's it. Now we have a safe, well, relatively safe craft that's ready to go. Let's make sure that if we need this design again, we don't have to build it all from scratch. At the top of the screen, you will see the name for your craft. Untitled spacecraft doesn't seem majestic. Why don't you change that? Something more your style. Okay. We'll enter this to be gamer. Gamers. Ship of death. Okay, we got an appropriate name for this. When you're happy, click on the save in the upper right hand corner. Alright, gamer ship of death is now saved. Now let's hit the hit the button. Summing up. Alright. Alright, Werner. Excellent work. Feel free to play around with the parts and techniques I've shown you. And when we're ready to continue, press the red button in the upper right to exit. Go back to the training menu, try the basic flight tutorial to learn how to fly this little craft. And then the intermediate construction tutorial will teach you more about the editor. Alright, any vessels you create here will be lost when you exit. This is just for playing around. What? Come on, man. Didn't I just save it? I saved it, right? Then leave. Alright, let's go to the next training tutorial. Basic flight. It'll teach us how to fly from Gene Kerman. It's kind of cute that they took people out of the actual NASA space program. Alright. Welcome. Well, his name is just Pilot. Oh, we have an internal view. Cool. How do we get out of the internal view? Can we just hit escape? Oops. Uh-oh. I'm pressing buttons. It's like, this is not good. What he said, back button or something like that? No. that didn't work. All right, we're stuck here. We're stuck, man. Staging mode, docking mode, toggle mode. Warp. How do we get back to that other view? See? All right, cool. Thank you. All right, let's see here. Space Center Launch Facility. I'm Gene. I will teach you the basics of piloting spacecraft. I trust already you've checked the basic construction tutorial. Yep. If not, I recommend you do so before going through this one. Today, we're going to run through all the important controls of your spacecraft. Our little hopper from our basic construction lesson with Warner may not have all of them, but we'll do a full run through once and see how it flies. And ready, press next. Flying a spacecraft is all about being in control of a generally very chaotic situation. As a pilot, your main flight controls will affect the pitch, the yaw, the roll of the ship. Let's look at those. Yeah, let's. All other controls will be locked. Okay. Roll. Pitch. Yaw. Okay, the roll, pitch, yaws are 3 directions you can rotate your craft. To help visualize these, let's take a holiday snap of the hopper below. All right, I got it. All right, pitch is S and W. Yaw is left and right is A and D, and roll is E and Q. Okay, I kind of got it. That little block of 6 here. Throttle plus pitch, yaw, roll are the main controls you'll need to master successful crash-free flight. All right, be a Kerbal. You got it, buddy. This guy's going down. We'll skip over to the throttle control for now. Oh, we'll skip over the throttle control for now, as the vessel has no need of it. Don't worry, I'll explain it another time. Great. We're on a need-to-know basis, and I don't need to know anything right now. This is kind of funny. The Gene, I don't remember what that guy's from NASA, what his last name was from NASA, but if you watch the movie Apollo 13, Gene, who was in control of the space flights for a long time through the Apollo missions. I think he was even also part of earlier missions, Gemini missions. But his wife makes him a vest for every flight. Well, the vest that he got in Apollo 13 was white. So this is like a precursor to what's really going to happen here. Remember that all your controls have limited amount of effectiveness, so bigger, heavier ships will probably respond much more sluggishly to the controls than a little one. It's also good to keep in mind that as stages are separated from the ship, it will become lighter, and this will usually mean easier to control. Let's look at the rest of the flight controls, shall we? In flight, all the planning you put into the staging sequence of your ship comes into play. From launch to final deployment to the descent of the descent parachute, you need to control the activation of several of the ship's parts by activating stages. Space launch, activate next stage. Notice the stage indicator in the lower left. It shows the current active stage. Since we haven't launched yet, showing the first stage is active. I have your staging controls locked for now, so the stage indicator is glowing purple. It is. More like a pink than a purple. One more thing on staging. If the staging setup is causing strife, or you change your mind about something, you can edit the stage sequence on the fly. Really? No need to go back to the assemble facility. Interesting. The nav ball. The important part of flying is knowing how your ship is oriented and where it's going. That's why a good pilot is always aware of the ship's Oh, I looked down. I missed my. Always aware of the ship's altitude, where it's pointing, and its velocity indicator where it's going. These aren't always the same direction. As your skill improves, you should pick these up. Okay. The big round instrument in the lower center of the screen is called the nav ball. This device sums up most of the critical information needed for proper death-free flight. Am I new, Whiskey? Absolutely. This is like, how many minutes have I been? 25 minutes. This is 25 minutes of the Kerbal. Here you see the ship's nose in relation to the horizon. This is in relation to the horizon? When you're not pointed straight up, it's easily visible as the lines between the blue line and the brown ground. Okay, gotcha. As well as its heading, compass bearing, and speed. You'll also get several icons that indicate things like your current velocity vector, but we'll have a look at those later. Good. This is not information overload. No. Just give me more stuff. You would do sandbox, build a rocket, and learn from the mistakes. I'm going through the tutorials right now. In the top center part of the screen, you have your altimeter, vertical speed indicator, and atmosphere gauges. Okay. Altimeter shows the distance of the planet's surface at sea level. This means the actual surface may be much closer, so watch out for the ground when landing. Your vertical speed indicator shows how quickly your altitude is changing. When launching, it's considered best to keep that gauge pointed up. Yeah, sure. The atmosphere gauge indicates the depth the ship is in the planet's atmosphere. Depth of ship. Help you know if the ship is high enough for orbiting without losing airspeed. Ah, okay. All right. That's interesting. They call the atmosphere depth. Parachute indicators. Oh my God. One last thing before we give you green light to launch. In the staging stage, you see the indicator for your parachute. Where is that on the screen? The indicator shows when the chute will be active by staging. You already know that, but the background will also change color to indicate when it's safe to stage the parachute. Okay, good. And the foreground of the parachute bit of the icon itself will change color depending on the parachute's state. Note, however, that by default, parachutes do not deploy when unsafe, even if you stage them. The left three show safety. Risk, safety, unsafe. The suit is unstaged white in the left three. The right three shows after staging, arm deployed and cut shred. I guess you don't want to be in red. When you're familiar with the chute icon colors, we can move on. Yeah, you got to make me memorize 6 colors. Okay, green is good, red is bad. Everywhere in between is kind of vague, right? Let's go on to the next. Yeah, give me thumbs up, Gene. Okay, enough talk. Enough talk. You gave me a book and a half to read. Unlock the flight controls and you're clear for launch. At any time, you may press escape to pause a game. In the pause menu, you can restart the flight or end this tutorial and return to the main menu. For now, get yourself prepared. Hit space when you're ready to launch. Don't forget, our hopper has only a solid rocket motor, so there is no throttle control. That's why we didn't review the throttle here. Make sure to fly in a nice high arc and enjoy the flight. All right. Well, we'll check it out. I'm ready. Why do I have to keep this arced? We're going! We're going to the moon! I don't know if I'm arced enough.
Thank you for joining me on this adventure. If you guys like the series, please put a like. If you have any comments, leave the comments in the comment section below. And if you haven't already, please subscribe to my channel. I really appreciate your support. Thanks a lot. Bye-bye. Thanks for watching. Please remember to hit that like button if you like the video and subscribe to our channel so you can stay on top of all of our latest video releases. I release content almost every day. We'll see you guys soon. Bye.